now?
I think just the energy and the flow in the clubhouse and the giddiness to go attack the regional. I love. So, yeah.
What does that giddiness look like?
I just like everyone's ready to compete. Everyone looks good right now, and I think we know that we're a good team when it all comes together. So I think everyone's kind of feeling that right now.
Did you guys kind of need those 2 days off? You had a pretty grinding month there.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we did, I think we're also in the mode as if we did have a conference tournament, it wouldn't really phase us. But now we're some of our bodies like kind of lacking and need this week for sure because we've been on the road so much. I think it goes both ways. So.
Obviously, you guys are scrimmaging this week as well, but how do you balance like kind of the wackiness of not having a conference tournament? Like you guys are so accustomed to going to Scottsdale this time of year and kind of having that body clock thing going on and continuing to have the rhythm of games. Like how do you account for that?
Yeah, I think it's not as big of a deal as people necessarily think. I think us watching these games right now, I think we're just kind of feeling lucky, like we don't have to necessarily play in Scottsdale in 110 degree weather. We can prep for the regional, which is what I mean. I didn't come here to win a conference tournament. I came here to go to Omaha, so we can prep for Omaha.
What are you kind of going to focus on this week? I know Mitch had kind of talked about wanting more practice time. You got it now this week. What's your focus?
Yeah, my personal focus is just getting in the cage and just working out. You know, making adjustments day by day with swing and. But getting out here on the field and taking just normal, long, good practice days, I think kind of brings everyone up skill base wise. So I think that's going to be huge for us.
You guys obviously had some good mojo there at the end. My perspective, two of the biggest things was Easton and Trent kind of, breaking out of their funks. What did you like about what you saw from them and how big are they for the team?
Yeah, huge. I live with Trent, so I get to see it off the field as well. And seeing Trent go about his work in the last 2-3 weeks has really been exciting for me to watch. And he's kind of grasping baseball as a whole now, I think. And I think the future is very, very bright for the kid. To see Talt kind of start swinging at those good pitches again and getting his swing off as well is huge. And having those two guys in our lineup hitting the ball and just competing in the box is huge for production throughout the entire lineup because it's now the other pitching staff doesn't have any guys off that they can take. So that's huge.
What did you see out of TC when he was kind of struggling there?
Yeah, I just think that kids come to college, kids when they start taking this job too seriously, start kind of going down a rabbit hole of things. And I mean, I've been there. Every kid is going to go there at some point in their career. So I think he just kind of realized that baseball is what you do, not who you are. So he's able to come home. He started being able to come home after games, even though he was 0 for 4 and whatnot. And he'd be just normal TC. Before that necessarily wasn't the case, but it wasn't also his fault because he just didn't know better. So I think the growth on the back end, like psychologically wise, has been the most growth I've seen from him.
At what point did you kind of see him hit that kind of mark, being able to come home and forget about an 0 for 4 day or a bad performance or whatever?
Yeah, there was like a specific, there is a date in there, but about a month ago I'd say, started having some real conversations, and I think it really opened his eyes up to like, oh, this is just a game, so.
What was he like before that? Was he just angry or just stewing or just?
It's just like, hey, I want to play good. Just that's it. And when you want to play good and when you want to go out there and compete and you're doing absolutely everything, it's kind of just consuming you as a person. And I mean, that's just human nature of the mind of, hey, like you want to do good and everyone's expecting you to do good, but this game's kind of weird where you have to convince yourself that you don't care so you can go play to your best ability. So it's a really kind of mentally weird game, but I just think he cared too much in the wrong way.
So he would just talk a lot about how he was struggling and how he wanted
somewhat,
to be better.
You just want to be better, what's going on with, but it's like I said, we've all been there, and you play this game for long enough, it's going to happen multiple times in your career.
Yeah.
So
kind of tough for him because he missed all of last year and he had all these expectations, and then here you go struggling. I mean, been through that. I guess
Yep.
it's that moment. It's hard to power through, huh?
Yeah, without a doubt. I told him before. I think I told him before the year, but like, hey, like this is your first college year, so expect things that you haven't battled before. So yeah.
Do you think, last Trent question, but like he's a draft eligible sophomore, missed most of his freshman year. Like he's still a very young guy and very limited experience. Like how much does that come into it? That he still is like sort of in his freshman year, so to speak, from that standpoint.
For sure. Yeah, I think the experience part of it is huge. It feels like I'm on my third year and I'm just starting to learn like actually who I am as a hitter. And it's my third year, it's my 18th year of baseball. And it's like, okay, maybe I can start somewhat figuring it out. But for him being young, I'd love to see him potentially come back because I think he's a 350, 360 hitter with 17, 18 home runs in there. So I'd love to see him come back, but whatever route he takes, I think he's going to have success.
Just kind of seems on the whole you guys are just having a lot more fun over the last couple weeks. I'm curious, but what's really stemmed that? What's pushed that through? And
That sweet blood, huh?
Yeah, I think the off the field stuff has been huge. Mentality coming from older guys as well. Just like I already said, like it's what we do, not who we are. So being able to go about it in a way that keeps us loose. Like I said, it's a weird game where you have to kind of mentally trick yourself into certain things. And what I've found for me and other guys is that if you're having fun, that's when you're going to perform your best. So as much as this game is serious and it's a huge goal and we have huge aspirations, sometimes the best way of getting there is having fun and playing loose, and then the chips fall. So
You hear the name Wilson Weber. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
he's raking. Yeah, raking.
Yeah. How have you seen him behind the scenes kind of be this year? I know he's kind of emerged as one, probably alongside yourself as a leader. What does that look like, him in a leadership role?
Yeah, it's cool to see Webb because he's a little bit of a different cat in a good way. Small town Oregon kid, and seeing him really kind of loosen up this year and play to his ability has been huge. And I think everyone can kind of see that. Webb doesn't care. It's his final year and he's doing it. And but he's also one of the hardest working kids on the team. So it goes hand in hand. And yeah, I mean, seeing it off the field is cool because there's no one in the world I'd rather see hit 440-foot home runs than him. So
Why is that?
Just because he runs the bases like a monkey. It's pretty fun.
That's fair. Do you remember what he said after the fourth Ducks loss in there when you guys kind of had that meeting? Did anything he say stick out?
Yeah, just play as a whole, just play for each other. Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of general message. Yeah.
Just as somebody who's experienced, hosting regionals here, we don't know exactly what next week looks like, but just if you could describe, especially to the guys who maybe aren't used to it, what that experience is like and how much of an advantage that is for you guys.
Yeah, it's you're bringing an entire environment and an event to Corvallis and even the state of Oregon. So being able to play in that situation, I don't think a lot of kids. I got to do it last year. I didn't get to do it my freshman year. I had to go to LSU. But being able to host that event and play in front of those people and for those people is honestly a life-changing moment because it's not about you anymore. It's never been about you, but I think kids really realize that once they play in front of that many fans and that kind of environment for this kind of purpose. So.
You said it's taken 18 years to figure out what you are as a baseball player. I'm curious, what's that self-discovery been, and how would you categorize
I
yourself?
think the self-discovery has been what I've figured out is that I'll never have it figured out. So it's kind of like I think they call it like the beginner's mind, where it's a never-ending process of mastery. So I think somewhat figuring that out in itself, that I'm never going to have it figured out, is a huge advantage. Where I think a lot of kids think that one day or one feel is gonna be, this is what's gonna make me the best player in the world, where it's not. And I mean, I would bet if I ask a lot of Hall of Famers, like, hey, did you ever have it figured out? Most of them say no. So I think that's what I've kind of realized this year.
You started to process or wrap your head around the fact that you've got one more, maybe two more weekends here?
Yeah, last weekend was on the last pitch out there it was like, wow, that's the last home game here. And it's hard not to get emotional. But yeah, this place means the world to me, and it's gonna be sad leaving it.
Yeah.
So.
Why do you get emotional?
It's just, I mean, this is home. Sorry. Yeah, this is my new home. I mean, I'm gonna be back here for the rest of my life, so. Yeah.
You get that contract, you can buy a house here.
I know. So.
All right. What's kind of a storybook way to end here the next week or two?
Went out. Yeah. You know, just went out with my boys and, you know, do the thing that we've been waiting to do all year.
Yeah.
If you could go back and tell your freshman year self one thing, what would you tell him?
Relax.
Yeah. Yeah, just like I said, that, you know, it's a game and you don't have it figured out, and it's a long process, lots of ups and downs, but, you know, enjoy the ride. So, yeah.
I appreciate you, Gav.
Yeah, thanks, Gav.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.